are we going to cover in this Twitter hashtags webinar? Well, we're going to look at today what is a hashtag. When I'm training, I get asked an awful lot about hashtags. Whenever I'm running social media introductory courses or indeed the Twitter courses, the hashtag seems to be something that people are terrified of. So hopefully today we will demystify all of that for you. How to create hashtags, tips for leveraging hashtags. We'll look at hashtags and how you can link hashtags to other media and other networks. For example, Facebook has recently introduced hashtags into the news feeds, and we'll have a look at that in more detail. Using hashtags to help you to target and find relevant people, and also then we'll end up with some hashtag do's and don'ts, some mash tagging and bash tagging, and if you hear about those areas of hashtagging, then this is something that we will demystify again today. So, what is a hashtag? Well, Twitter talk about Twitter being a network which connects people with the news and the information they want. And if we think about Twitter, 40% of people on Twitter don't actually tweet. So they are definitely just using it as a source to connect with news and information that they want. And indeed, if they are using it, they're also connecting with news and information that they want by sharing communications with businesses, brands, or people. So if that's the key premise of Twitter, and there's a lot of noise going on in Twitter. You know, there are 400 million tweets a day sent. There's a lot of noise, and therefore it's difficult for everybody to be following everybody and conversing around similar topics. So what's great about hashtags is they're almost like a key, a clue to helping people find people, information and conversations about the things they're interested in without necessarily being connected to one another. So I don't know if we've got any Breaking Bad fans out there, but if you are a Breaking Bad fan and you're on Twitter, you might have been watching the finale this week with whilst also watching the hashtag Breaking Bad that was happening on Twitter. And for example, you know, there were 1.5 million tweets. You can see this here. Breaking Bad finale generated 1.5 million tweets, and it's the hashtag Breaking Bad finale because people wouldn't be able to just tweet to one another. They might be using different words. Breaking Bad, 2 words. The fact that they were all talking around hashtag Breaking Bad actually brings a community of different people together. So they don't necessarily need to be connected to one another. And you know, Simon Pegg, I mean, if you go into Twitter and you do a quick hashtag Breaking Bad, you will see that there was all sorts of people talking about on that particular hashtag, from celebs to, you know, Joe Blogs. And so what this does is connect people around a topic that they're interested in. It's unlikely that Simon Pegg is going to follow me on Twitter. However, the two of us could have a conversation about what we've just been watching on Breaking Bad because we're both talking about that same subject. So that bottom point there, it can bring a diverse audience together around a similar topic. People who are not otherwise connected can literally be tagged into the same group just by using a simple hashtag. So hashtags aren't just for entertainment. We do see them a lot in entertainment. We do see them a lot on TV. You know, if you're watching a TV program now, if you're watching X Factor or you're watching Strictly Come Dancing or The Great British Bake Off, whatever it is you're watching, all of those programs will say join the conversation over on our Facebook page using the hashtag whatever their hashtag is. So they overtly promote hashtags, and you see that quite a lot in programming. It's becoming a natural part of programming that hashtags are being used to engage audiences whilst the program is running live. So the program might be talking about a specific subject, but then people can actually be saying, well, what a load of rubbish, or yes, I totally agree, whilst that same program is happening amongst their own community by the same people using that hashtag. So hashtags can be used for entertainment. They are used to engage and group people in that way. They can also be used, you know, and they can be a very extremely powerful way of rallying and organising people around maybe a time-critical event. So if you think about the Iran elections, when all of that activity was happening, there was a lot of activity around hashtag Iran election, where people were talking about that. A couple of years ago in London, you know, we had hashtag London riots, which was like a global London hashtag, which was, you know, helping mobilise people to get together to kind of help clean up all the destruction that had happened due to the riots. You see them more and more if somebody goes missing, you know, if there's a missing person or there's been a crime, or somebody's, you know, they need to rally up a group of people. The hashtag is a way of centralising that and grouping people. The hashtag there, Finding Poppy, you know, a friend of mine lost her dog, and this dog went missing for 5 days, and she used this hashtag on Twitter, throughout Facebook, and within literally a few days, you know, within 3 days, her blog had increased, you know, from people reaching out to try and help her. There were literally hundreds of people joining her at certain parts of various forests that she was searching for this dog in, who had literally just seen the hashtag on Twitter or Facebook and wanted to join in the activity to help her find this missing dog. So you can see that it is a way of collectively creating an event almost. You know, if you think about the hashtag is almost, it's like mini event where you are drawing people together to talk about that event or that activity collectively. So how to create a hashtag? I often get asked this question, and you know, where do we get hashtags from is another question. But anybody can create a hashtag. Anybody can create a hashtag. It's very simple. You create the tag, the hash key, which is that kind of noughts and crosses type looking key that you see on any keypad or keyboard, and you simply place that in front of any word or group of words. So for example, the hashtag for Make Your Mark Online training or business training made simple is hashtag MyMo training, hashtag London riots, hashtag Strictly Come Dancing, hashtag Strictly I think is there, hashtag Bake Off, you know, whatever that hashtag is, people literally can just create that hashtag, and anybody can create a hashtag. Anybody. There is no place that you have to go to get permission. It's not like creating a website URL, which I think a lot of people think it is. Well, where did they get that hashtag from? All they did was create a word or group of words and put the hashtag in front of it, and that is it. So anybody can create that hashtag, but there are some things you really need to do before you just set about creating a hashtag, and we'll get on to those further on in this hangout. And the hashtag basically is collectively a tag. It's that group. It groups tweets that all mention the particular hashtag. So if we think about this hashtag here, hashtag HIGNFY, and that is Have I Got News For You. So this is a television program that probably for the last 3 or 4 years has actually used a hashtag in their programming. Join the conversation when the program's on, up flashes this hashtag, and more programs do that. You can see some snippets here from a Twitter thread where we're looking at the hashtags. So hashtags Have I Got News For You, and you can see that yes, it was great, particularly an amusing episode. The gorgeous Damian Lewis is a very funny guy. Hashtag Have I Got News For You. Again, you can see the next person talking about it, and these people are very unlikely to be connected to one another. The only commonality is the fact that they are all using the hashtag Have I Got News For You. So it's a way of linking people to talk around a topic. So people are talking and sharing around this hashtag. As I say, they do not have to be following each other on Twitter. They can all be discussing the same subject. So it can be a subject, an event, a topic, a TV program, sharing their views, and potentially connecting with other like-minded individuals that they may never otherwise have come across. I was at an event recently where somebody was talking from Facebook, somebody was talking from Twitter, and the whole of the audience were tweeting throughout everything that they were saying. You know, this was great, I thought that was terrible, you know, or whatever it was. They were sharing their views about the topics. And so when you share your views about the topic, somebody can then come back to you and say, well, that was very interesting. You know, and then what tends to happen with that is that the people you tend to engage with and have conversations with, you might actually start following, and they might start following you. So there is this way to potentially connect with other like-minded individuals, but that, as I say, you may never otherwise have come across. Tasked with targeting fans, let's say, you know, if we think about, well, how can we use hashtags to help us in business? If you were given the mission of, you know, having a specific objective of trying to get to a specific audience, just like in Facebook, when you look at the demographics about, well, what do people like? You know, oh, we'd like to get hold of people who like jelly babies, for example. It might be that there is a Jelly Babies fan page, and you can go to that, and you can see the different people and try and engage with different people around that. Or indeed, if you were targeting them to advertise to them, there might even be a category that says, you know, they like jelly babies. The same thing applies on Twitter. If you were tasked with trying to find a specific audience on Twitter, and let's say here, for example, I've said I've been tasked with targeting fans of Have I Got News For You. So if I wanted to find all the fans of Have I Got News For You, because I think they're the kind of right demographic profile that we need to be targeting, then I would be able to easily find them by simply just typing in Have I Got News For You, or looking at the HIGNFY, you know, hashtag, and then seeing who was talking about it, and going on and looking at their profiles and following them or interacting with them and engaging with them. So I could do that. I can watch the conversations on Twitter when the program was airing, or I could just go and search for them. It's highly unlikely that the fans or those people that are interacting, if I was doing a keyword search on Have I Got News For You, it's unlikely they in their profiles say, I'm a fan of Have I Got News For You. So I wouldn't find them that way. But because there is this hashtag and because there is this activity around that, I can actively go out and find people that ordinarily would have been quite difficult to target. So I hope that makes sense, you know, that people don't think about hashtags in that way, that you can actually really use them to target specific segments of people, or specific demographics of people, specific likes of people, because of the things that they are targeting and talking about or associating themselves with via hashtags. So the hashtag, in summary, just to summarize where we've got to so far, is it's a way of searching for tweeters, people who are tweeting, or indeed people that are on Facebook now, that have common interests or are talking about a common topic. They do not necessarily need to be following one another. You know, they are just literally talking about this common interest or this common topic. So it's an anchor to group conversations. You can watch what unconnected people are talking about, enabling you, indeed, to tap into those people and create your own community, if you wanted to, of people all interested at the same topic. Now, this is particularly useful for events. If you were running an event, let's say this is an event called hashtag iStrategy. So this is the iStrategy event, which is a kind of digital marketing and strategic marketing event that happens. And their hashtag for their event is hashtag iStrategy. So if we look here at some threads of communications, you can see that you've got the iStrategy conference, and whenever they are talking down there with the big red eye there, whenever they're talking, in their tweets they use hashtag iStrategy. iStrategy, when the conference is actually running, there's a huge amount of content that is shared as people are at that strategy. Recently we had Social Media Week in London, didn't we? And there was a hashtag SM London and SMWK London, and around all of that around all of those conversations, people, all different types of people that were all interested in social media, were conversing and talking and sharing. And that for me was a great way to find and connect with new people, because they are people I want to be connecting with. So you can see that you can use this. Now, if you were also using this for an event, you could promote that hashtag, and we'll come on to that a little bit further down this hangout. So hashtags often trend on Twitter. So when you're on your Twitter stream, down in the left-hand side, you see trends. And you can see different trends. You can change the trends to see trends from different countries or different cities within the UK. But mine is set at London trends, as you can see there. And you can see that and this was taken from yesterday's Twitter, so it's probably changed today, because things change all the time on Twitter. So things that were trending on Twitter yesterday for London were Manchester and hashtag British Egg Week, hashtag Team Sam Callaghan. Now, all I have to do is kind of hit that hashtag, hit that link, and it will take me through to the activity. So it's a way of kind of pushing in front of you, again, what's happening. And this is, hashtags often trend on Twitter, and you can see here that this is Sam Callaghan, hashtag Team Sam Callaghan, and I believe he's somebody off the X Factor, having just clicked that to think, oh, what's this? He's something to do with, he's one of the contestants on the X Factor. And you can see that these people are not following Sam Callaghan. They're desperately trying to get him to follow them, but they are all talking about hashtag Team Sam Callaghan. And of course it's trending on Twitter because so many people are talking about that particular topic. And if I then, as a business or for whatever reason, needed to contact people who were fans of Sam Callaghan, that hashtag would be a great indicator for me to go after those people and see who they were, without them ever saying on their profile, I'm an X Factor fan. So please note, I never said that all hashtags were purposeful, and sometimes when you look at the hashtags that are trending, it really is, there is really quite a lot of rubbish out there. So that just goes to show that a hashtag can be created about anything, and that many are pretty mundane. So back to selecting a hashtag, we've already said that anybody can select a hashtag and create their own hashtag simply by putting the hash sign in front of it. But you really need to decide on why you're using a hashtag, and you need to do a bit of a check on it to make sure it's relevant. So one key thing to consider is make sure your hashtag is easy to understand. Is it relevant? If I was running a social media 5-day event, I wouldn't call it, I'd need to call it something relevant. If I had some kind of very unusual hashtag, it just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't necessarily be relevant, and it may not fit into searches that people are doing. So decide on a relevant, easy to understand hashtag. So for example, my event would be hashtag social media bootcamp. If I decided that I was going to use that for my event, or that I was doing, I'd need to do a search on Twitter to see if it's already being used, if it's in use. And if so, how is it being used? Are the conversations ones which are relevant and useful? Now, it might be that I look at that hashtag and I do a quick search and I think, ooh, it's absolutely it's being used for something else, or actually it's being used by a competitor for exactly the same thing, and I'm going to cause confusion. So it makes good sense to absolutely check out and test your hashtags before you use them. Here are the results. So I've tested now, I've gone into Twitter and I've looked at hashtag social media bootcamp, and you can see that there are a number of people talking about a bootcamp. So I might look at this and I might think, oh no, there's already loads of noise around it. But if I felt that noise was really relevant noise, and it might still fit, these people look like people who are interested in social marketing, etc., I might think, well, actually, I'm going to stick with it because I think it's a great hashtag. There's nothing negative about the things that people have already been saying of this hashtag, and I'm going to use it for my event. So do the research, have a look, see what people are doing, and make the decision. The decision is yours as to whether or not you want to use it. Tracking hashtags. So often I am asked, can you track a hashtag? Can you see what all the hashtags are? There isn't a definitive directory, but there are definitely places where people are now having a chance or a go at organising the world's hashtags. You can see here hashtags.org is organising the world's hashtag. That's their mantra, that's their tagline, and you can have a look at this. It's hashtags.org, and you can see that you can go in and you can type any hashtag, and you can see whether it's being used, where it's being used, all sorts of things. You can listen, measure, and engage in conversations and track your hashtags. So that's a little application that you can have a look at. There is a hashtag directory, and you can add your hashtag to this directory and then give it a kind of give it a kind of explanation as to what that hashtag is all about. And again, before you're doing anything with your own hashtags, it's worth entering the hashtag, looking in this directory to see who else and what else has been used around the hashtags that you're looking to include. And then there is another one, discover what hashtags mean and add your own definitions in seconds. And you can see there, adding a new hashtag definition, enter the name of the hashtag, press enter, and your definition in the text field, and that's it. So you can go in and look up hashtags, add your own hashtags, add definitions to hashtags. So for example, for hashtag MIMO training, when you put that in, the hashtag comes up, but there is no definition. So it might be that Business Training Made Simple go in and say, MIMO training is the hashtag used by Business Training Made Simple for all the Business Training Made Simple trainers to use and share tips and links and tactics and hangouts and webinars, so it's around digital marketing, social media, online advertising, etc. So they can go in there and they can explain what it is that hashtag is around. And I think as hashtags, we've already been using hashtags for a long time, and they are becoming more and more meaningful. I mean, lots of advertising campaigns, they don't drive you to a URL, a website anymore. They just give you a hashtag, and all during the Olympics, Nike ran their campaign, hashtag Make It Count, and there was nowhere else to go other than Twitter to actually engage with that campaign, and people did, and more people do that. They will provide hashtags as do programs for people to interact and engage with. So it's worth kind of making sure you get your definition around things and you claim your hashtags, even though there isn't a directory, which means if that hashtag is and nobody else could take your hashtag and use it again, at least you can make some claim to it. Searching for hashtags, again, this is a question we often get asked about, searching for hashtags. How can I find hashtags? And you can actually just go to Google and type in your hashtag query straight into Google now, because Google is indexing all the information that comes out of Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Google Plus, of course, and you will see here that just a simple Google search on Breaking Bad, you will see that these come up, and when if you look at the results of those and click Breaking Bad, it will show you tweets and Facebook inserts around that particular keyword. Similarly, you can search for hashtags on Twitter. You can see there again, it comes up, the Breaking Bad finale, Breaking Bad marathon, Breaking Bad predictions. There were lots of people already talking, and you can go in and think, oh, well, actually, it was just about the finale I wanted to see who was watching that, or I need to see a conversation about the predictions. I'm doing a blog post and I want to write something about all the predictions and whether they came true, at the end of it. So you can see here that there are hashtags that can be used for lots of ways, connecting with people, helping you with your content ideas, all sorts. And it's very simple. You just go into the search bar of Twitter or Google, and depending on which Facebook platform you're looking at. So Facebook is just introducing graph search. It's not rolled it out to everywhere yet. And so the old news feeds on Facebook allow you to search very easily on hashtags and see things that are trending around conversations in hashtags. But that's not across all profiles at the moment, but it's likely to be in the not too distant future. So hashtag don'ts. Don't make the hashtag too complex. Now, it might be that there might be a reason, you know, it might be that you're running an internal seminar or some internal training, or you just need to create a group of people that can have a specific conversation around something collaboratively. You probably wouldn't use Twitter for that, but if you did, you could set up quite a complex hashtag, you know, like hashtag X5138 or something, which isn't a word, it's more like a code, and therefore only the people that knew what that hashtag was would be searching on that particular hashtag to look at that conversation. So it would be an open conversation, so you know, it's probably not the best way to use the hashtag, but it could be quite complex. But the majority of hashtags, what you're trying to do is make it useful for other people that are relevant to that hashtag to find it. Okay, so for example, if I was tasked with organising Wimbledon, and I'm running a tennis event and I'm trying to get as many people to it around Wimbledon, then I would definitely be using the hashtag Wimbledon, and maybe things like hashtag Nadal or hashtag Murray. I wouldn't use too many hashtags. There's nothing worse. I mean, first and foremost, when we're communicating people to people, you know, to human beings, and you can't really engage with, you know, a tweet or a communication that is just peppered with hashtags. And you do see that. You do see a lot of promotional type tweets that literally are just hashtag after hashtag after hashtag, because what they're trying to do is just jump into all of the relevant conversations in a very kind of spammy way, really. So that example there, see you at hashtag Wimbledon, hashtag Nadal, hashtag Murray, hashtag Williams, hashtag Serena, hashtag Strawberries, hashtag Djokovic, hashtag Federer, hashtag you know, there will already be conversations going on around every single one of those hashtags. And by me including all of those hashtags in there, I've got, you know, it might be if somebody's just searching hashtag Wimbledon, this tweet would come up, so they might find me. However, I've not really given them anything to engage with. I've not really given them any reason, and they would probably look at that and just think, oh, spammer. So don't use too many hashtags. We say best practice is about no more than 3. You know, in most tweets use 1, there might be occasion to use 2, 3 if you really need to, but never ever any more than 3 is what we advise. The other thing that you should not do is something called bash tagging, you know, and people do this surprisingly a lot, and when they do, they really get slammed for it. So do be careful. You know, there are ways that you can jump into very popular conversations using hashtags in a very legitimate way. So, but here, and this is quite an aged case study now about Habitat UK, but you know they're no longer around, are they? And you know, this was you know the typical, they'd hired an intern to do their social activity, and that intern thought, oh, look at what's trending. You know, Apple had just brought out the 4S, I think, at the time, or maybe even the predecessor, and Habitat were talking about their 20% discount off their sale, their spring collection, and of course they were using hashtag MMS, hashtag Apple, hashtag iPhone, and of course they didn't sell any Apples or iPhones, but at the time those were the hashtags that were trending on Twitter, and they thought, aha, we will jump into these busy conversations by pushing our salesy tweets into popular conversations, which is an absolute no-no, and they got slaughtered for doing this. Not only did they, everybody was a big backlash on Twitter, it made the press as to what not to do on social, but it left them in a very negative light. And lots of people, there was somebody else that I can't, there's lots of case studies around people doing this kind of activity. So, you wouldn't necessarily talk about your event, hashtag come join me at the hashtag social media boot camp, sharing advice on, 5 days about Twitter or Facebook or whatever it was, and then, include the hashtag Bieber. Justin Bieber's probably one of the most tweeted about people on Twitter, and hashtag Bieber is a very, very popular hashtag, and of course it would connect me with all of the Bieber fans, but you wouldn't do that because it's just not relevant. You might get quite a bit of traction, but it's just not relevant. So that's bash tagging. It's a no-no. We highly recommend you don't do that. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be legitimate. There's got to be some relevancy to the hashtags that you're jumping in with. Hashtags and Facebook, yes, I alluded to this, and it's news feeds are being tested with trending. So on Twitter, we've been used to seeing trending for a long time. Facebook have just started experimenting with this on some news feeds. Now, at the moment, when we look at business pages on Facebook, so you've got personal profiles on Facebook and you've got business profiles. If we think about the business page, at the moment, we're not seeing any of this trending or hashtag activity really happening. However, when you're on a personal news feed which has trending engaged on it, so they're just rolling it out, so not all profiles have this, but if you're seeing trending and if you see the hashtags that are trending, so for example hashtag Breaking Bad, you will then also see, if you click that hashtag, all the conversations, and they come up in Facebook in a very visual way. So, if brands had been talking about it, I think there was the Lego Meths Lab. There's all sorts of various things that people had done around Breaking Bad, and you can see all the business profiles pages as well as personal pages. So it's a mix. So what does that mean for you as a business? Well, from a business perspective, when you are now then posting on Facebook, use hashtags, use relevant hashtags within your posts, because those hashtags are connecting people in their news feeds with the content that they are looking for. So if you think about it that way, if somebody's looking for yoga teacher and yours is hashtag yoga teacher, they will see hashtag yoga teacher, they will see your business page tweets in their news feeds. So it's a way of expanding and amplifying into new audiences, just as it is on Twitter, just as it's going to start becoming on Facebook. So do think about using hashtags now over on Facebook, but the principles apply. You do not want to pepper all of your Facebook updates with hashtag, 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 hashtag. They've got to be human. They've still got to be highly visual. Maybe just one, maximum 2 hashtags, just to make sure that people who are searching for your products or services on Facebook or are interested in those types of things can actually find you via a hashtag rather than the keywords that you might already think that they can find you on. So there you go. So this is an example of hashtags and Breaking Bad. When you click that hashtag, you can see here, guess who got jambified, Jesse Pinkman of Breaking Bad. You can also see the things trending today down the right-hand side on Facebook, Sinead O'Connor, Rihanna, the trial of Conrad Murray, hashtag Indians, Vladimir Putin. You can see the things, and so this is telling you, this is the main conversations on Facebook, just as they are on Twitter, are around these particular topics. And so it's worth keeping an eye on those if you're seeing those, to see what the hashtags are and whether or not any of those hashtags are relevant to your business. So hashtag do's, things that you should be doing with your hashtag. So for example, if it's an event, definitely promote your hashtag. Promote it you know, for example, these webinars, when anybody's doing any training, business training made simple, all of the trainers say, we will be providing more resources to this hashtag MyMo training throughout the day. Please stay tuned. Or when those delegates go away from the training course, they can actually just do a search, pick up the things that we've left for them on that hashtag. You know, they can join those conversations and see those resources that the trainers have posted there. They can also see anybody else that might have engaged in that conversation as well. So it's a way of them talking to one another as well as finding resources. So promote the hashtag. If it's newsworthy, promote it. You know, as I said, Nike put it all over their advertising campaigns. You know, that was the only call to action that they included, hashtag make it count. So start looking at the advertising that you see around and looking at the information that you're receiving in TV programming. You'll see these hashtags popping up absolutely everywhere. If indeed you were running an event, you include the hashtag on the printed materials when you're inviting people to that event. People can then start the conversation pre the event, they can join the conversation during the event, and they can see what happened, you know, around that conference post the event just by looking in at the hashtag. Another do is include relevant hashtags in your conversations, in your tweets, in your Facebook updates. Do include them. So often I see tweets and I think, oh, why didn't they include the hashtag such and such? So so that's something that you can do. Search for your hashtags before you use them. Check them out. Check that you're jumping into relevant conversations, not something that might be quite damaging for you that you don't really want to be associated with. So check the hashtag, and if it is associated with something you don't want to be associated with, find another one. You know, just keep searching until you find a hashtag that you're happy with, that isn't being overused or is being used in a way that is potentially complementary. And as I said, the maximum of 3 hashtags in any communication. You really don't want to just be spamming with your hashtags. So, any questions as we've been going through the hashtags today?
Yes, we've had a few come in, Michelle. The first one is from Sally. Do hashtags work the same on all platforms?
Do hashtags work the same on all platforms? Well, you've seen how they work on Google. You can literally just search for them and then you will see conversations that are linked to hashtags. Hashtags on Twitter, they are hyperlinks straight through to the conversation. So if you were to go onto Twitter, and in your Twitter stream you see a hashtag, if you click that hashtag, it will then show you the stream of information around that hashtag. It works exactly the same on Facebook. So my question is, where most hashtags are being used at the moment, then yes, they work the same. They lead you to the conversation and to see the people who are collaborating around that hashtag. So yes, they are used collectively as a way of grouping, tagging people into that conversation. So yes, they do all work the same.
Okay, great. Hope that helps, Sally. The next one, should you always include a hashtag in a tweet? Is it necessary?
You know, I mean, if you're replying to somebody and having a conversation with them, it might be a bit strange to include a hashtag. So, you know, and a lot of what we do on social is being social and engaging in conversations. So that, unless you're pointing them to a direction like, yeah, check out hashtag Wimbledon or something, then it might be a bit strange. So you don't have to use them in every tweet, but if there's a relevancy, if you think that that there's already a topic around this, then use them.
And another one from John. What hashtag should you be using? Should it depend on your business specifically, or?
Well, I mean, it depends why you're using the platform. Some people use Twitter as a news feed just to basically listen to what's going on. Some people use it for research. Some people use it for lead generation. Some people use it for customer service. It really depends on what the platform is being used for as to how you would use hashtags. So I would always say, if you're using the platform from a business perspective, you should have some very clear objectives as to why you're using that platform. If, for example, I am an award-winning cat groomer and I'm using Twitter to I want to grow my thought leadership. I want to become the go-to person around cat grooming in the UK. So if anybody's got any questions around cat grooming, they're going to come to me, because that I want to grow my authority in that space as the person to go to. So that's my one objective. And then my second objective is lead generation. You know, I actually want to generate some new business connections and networks from Twitter specifically. So I've got two very clear objectives, and therefore when I put my tweets out, I probably would be saying things like hashtag cats, hashtag cat grooming, hashtag happy cats. You know, I would do the research and see what was going on. Hashtag vets. Vets might be, you know, a core audience that are going to be useful for me from a lead generation perspective. So I might actually say, you know, something about I might have a stat about the percentage of cats that have got knots in their fur and hashtag vets, because vets probably have to see quite a lot of that. You know, I would use vets, I would look at journalists, trade press, and I would use relevant hashtags around the subjects that they're talking about that link me into relevant audiences and target audiences. If there was a particular if the cat show was running and that had a hashtag, I would definitely be watching that hashtag and then seeing who was talking around that hashtag and then trying to connect with them and nurture a network with them. So I would be using the hashtags in a very relevant and purposeful way based on my specific objectives.
Lovely. Thank you, Michelle. I think that's all we've got time for today, so we'll draw it to a close now. So if you want to learn more about hashtags, please do remember we run training courses across social media and search marketing areas. We've got our upcoming courses you can see there. We've got Twitter for Business on the 16th, Social Media for Business on the 22nd, and Facebook on the 29th of October. As a thank you for listening in to this Hangout, we are offering you £50 off on any of those courses. So you can just use the hashtag 50 code at the checkout and that will give you the relevant discount. And please do connect with us. Any further questions you might have, please do post them to our hashtag, which is MyMoTraining, Making Your Mark Online, and they'll get answered there. Again, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Google+. And yep, we just a few more of our resources there which are available to you. You can see all our past webinars, and we do one every month, and they are available on our website and our YouTube channel, and our blog, which is published twice a week, which is full of hints and tips on all the content that we cover in our courses there. Okay, lovely. Thank you everyone for signing in. We'll just say a quick goodbye to you now, so you can see our faces.
At least we got through the giggles. We got through the giggles. We got through the broadcast and the technical hitches that happened to even everyone. The pros. It happened to everyone. So thank you for sticking with us.
And next, we'll see you the same time, same place next month, which hopefully will be a very smooth transition. And that will be all about Google Plus next webinar, which is Michelle is also doing.
Yep.
Also.
Look forward to that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.